All right. So if you guys made it to this video, this is going to be part two of your work for this week. And we're going to talk about types of energy. Now, I do promise that this video is much, much shorter, talking about the types of energy because you probably already have a good background of how different devices transfer energy. But we're going to talk about the types of energy. So there are four types. There are heat, sound, motion, which we know is kinetic, and light. Okay, so those are the four types of energy that are transferred or used when electricity is produced. Okay, so we're going to talk about, and if you can see, I know there's a terrible glare from that light. Okay, this is what you guys have in your worksheet. We have a hair dryer, we have an oven, we have a radio, and a cell phone. And then these last two examples I'm going to kind of leave up to you guys for the end. But we're going to talk about the different types of energy that are produced when we use each of these items. So if you think about a hair dryer, now not everybody uses one, but if you turn on a hair dryer, what does it do? Well, it either blows out hot or cold air, okay? So you start to have that heat or thermal energy, okay? So I'm going to write thermal, but I'm also going to write heat under it, okay? Because, you know, the purpose is to dry your hair, hopefully. If you also hear, if you can hear it, it produces that sound energy, okay? And the other one that, you know, not a lot of people think of, but because the hot air is coming out, it's also going to produce motion or kinetic energy. So I'm going to write motion and then in parentheses kinetic. Okay, so if you can see that, and I will at the end kind of show you guys my screen a little bit better. Or I'm sorry, my board a little bit better because it looks like it's glaring off my screen. Okay, so a hair dryer uses energy of heat, sound, and motion to dry your hair. All right, now if you, depending on how often you cook, use your oven, you know, think about what an oven does. Again, it's going to use heat, okay? And again, you can write heat instead of thermal, that's okay, but just know that if you are talking about heat, you're talking about thermal, they're the same, okay? And then a lot of times, what ovens do is they produce some type of light or frequency to heat up your food. Okay, so they also do light. I don't know too many ovens that make a whole lot of sound, but sometimes they do when they start to preheat and turn on. They kind of make that clicking noise. So if you wanted to write sound, that'd be okay too. The next one we have is our radio. And if you think about if you turn on a radio in a car, a lot of that is just produced with sound. Now, for those of you that like a heavier bass in a car, or even on, I don't know, if you have an Amazon Alexa or a Hey Google or something like that, sometimes you could even argue that there's motion or kinetic energy because of that vibration through sound frequencies. It can start to kind of move a little bit or shake. And then if you think about your last one, if you have your cell phone handy, you can kind of test out all types of energy, and now you're actually practicing science at home, is your cell phone, okay? So if you have your cell phone on loud, and you flip that button, you're going to be producing sound. Now, depending on what apps you have, you might have music or different things like that. So sound is one of them. Another one, you wouldn't probably be able to see what's on your phone without it. Light. Okay. Again, sometimes when you plug your phone into the wall and you're still using it and your hands start to warm up your phone because the battery is recharging and resetting, sometimes it gets overheated. So if you want to say thermal, that's okay too. And the other one, let's say you're going to class, or hopefully your phone's not ringing off the hook all day, but a lot of times if you turn your phone on vibrate, what's it doing? It's starting to move. Okay, so you would have kinetic energy or energy of motion. So I'm going to say kinetic, and in parentheses, again, I'm going to write motion. Okay, so play around a little bit with different items in your house, and if you're not really sure as to how they work or what types of energy they create, think about what you see and what you observe with your senses. All right, so the last two down here are going to be for you. You're going to pick two items, and then you're going to write all the types of energy that they use. Okay, so that's part two. Good luck. I am going to move my computer just a little bit closer so that you guys can see. Okay, if you need to screenshot or pause it or write them down again, that's totally fine. Okay. So those were the 4 examples that I gave. Good luck. Make it kind of a little bit of a scavenger hunt like you did last week. All right. You can use some of the same items and then get ready for part 3.